You might assume that high intelligence is enough to guarantee massive financial wealth. You might believe that understanding complex mathematics allows you to master the markets. Today, I'm going to tell you a fascinating story that proves you wrong. This is the tragic story of how the smartest man became the biggest fool. In part 1, we explored how the British government created the South Sea Company. We discovered how they built a fake company to hide their massive war debts, but a scam is nothing without a victim, and today, we meet our victim. His name was Sir Isaac Newton, the man who discovered the laws of gravity. By the year 1720, Newton was already a living legend across all of Europe. He was the master of the Royal Mint and a celebrated national hero of England. He was not a gambler. He was a man of cold logic and precise calculation. When the South Sea stocks started to rise, Newton was watching the market very carefully. He saw the hype, he saw the potential, and he made a calculated, strategic move. He invested a small portion of his fortune into the company early in the spring, and just as he predicted, the stock price went up significantly in a short time. Newton was a genius, so he did exactly what any smart investor would do today. He took his profits and he sold his shares to secure his initial capital quickly. He walked away with a very handsome profit of £7,000 in cash. In today's money, that would be nearly $1 million of pure profit. For him, he felt good, he felt smart, and he felt completely safe from the market risk. But then something terrible happened, something he did not calculate. In his mathematical equations, the stock price did not stop rising. It kept going up and up every day, went from 300 to 500, then to £800 per share. Newton watched from the sidelines as the price defied all known logic and natural laws. But the worst part was not the numbers, it was the ordinary people around him. He saw his friends, people who were much less intelligent than him, getting incredibly rich. He saw them getting filthy rich overnight just by holding the paper stock certificates. He saw his maid buying a golden carriage and his barber buying a large mansion. This is where the hidden logic of human psychology kicks in very hard and deep. It creates a powerful feeling that we know today as FOMO, or fear of missing out. It is a biological reaction that overrides the logical part of the human brain completely. Newton started to feel like he was the one losing money by not investing more. He watched the stock hit £900 and he simply could not take it anymore. The pain of watching others get rich was greater than the fear of losing money. So, in the late summer of 1720, the genius made a fatal financial mistake. He abandoned his logic, he abandoned his rules, and he went back into the market. But this time he did not just invest a small safe amount like before. He took almost everything he had and dumped it all into the stock market. He bought back in at the absolute peak of the massive market bubble cycle. He bought at £1,000 per share, thinking it would go up forever. For a few days he felt relieved to be part of the wealthy party again. He convinced himself that this was a new paradigm, and the old rules were gone. But gravity is a law of nature, and what goes up must eventually come down. Just weeks after Newton went all in, the dark reality of the scam appeared. The directors of the company started selling their own shares. His secret to escape. The news leaked that there were no ships and no trade deals actually existed. Panic swept through the streets of London like a wildfire, destroying everything in its path. The stock price crashed from 1,000 down to less than 200 in days. There were no buyers left, only sellers screaming to get out of the collapsing market. Newton watched in absolute horror as his life savings evaporated. In just a few days, he did not just lose his profit, he lost his original principal investment amount. He lost £20,000, which is millions of dollars. In modern currency terms, the man who could calculate the weight of the planets was now completely broke. The psychological damage was far worse than a financial loss for a man like him. He was so traumatized by this event that he banned a specific word forever. He told his family never to speak the word South Sea in his presence again. He famously said, "I can calculate the motions of heavenly bodies, but not human madness." This story teaches us a brutal and timeless lesson about money and human psychology. Intelligence does not protect you from greed or the powerful herd mentality of crowds. In fact, smart people are often much better at rationalizing their own bad decisions. Newton thought he was different, but the market treats everyone exactly the same way. We often think that financial bubbles are caused by stupidity, but that is false. Bubbles are caused by emotional contagion that infects even the brightest minds among us. When you see your neighbor getting rich with no effort, your IQ drops instantly. This is exactly what happened to Newton, and it is what happens to us today. Whether it is the dot-com bubble or the modern cryptocurrency market cycles, the asset class changes, but the human emotion remains exactly the same every century. But while Newton was crying over his lost fortune, the entire country was burning. The crash of the South Sea Company did not just hurt the wealthy investors, it destroyed the entire economy of Great Britain and caused absolute chaos in society. Banks collapsed, businesses closed, and the suicide rate skyrocketed across the city of London. The government was terrified that the people would rise up and overthrow the king. They needed a scapegoat, and they needed a new system to fix the mess. In the next and final episode of this series, we will see the aftermath. We will see how the government covered up the crime to protect the king. And we will see how this disaster created the financial system we use today. If you don't want to end up like Isaac Newton, you need to watch part 3. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the crash is always coming. This is the hidden logic, and we are just revealing the truth of history.